does pawn majority help in chess endgames? Imagine you're in a race, and one side has more runners on one track than the other. That extra runner can push ahead, right? In chess, having a pawn majority on one side of the board works the same way. It means you have more pawns on that wing than your opponent. This extra pawn can become a powerful tool in the endgame. When the game reaches the final phase, the goal is often to promote a pawn to a queen. A pawn majority makes this easier because it gives you more pawns to push forward without immediate threats. Having a pawn majority allows you to start pushing those pawns forward step by step. The idea is to create an outside passed pawn, which is a pawn with no opposing pawns blocking its way to promotion on the edge of the board. When you have an outside passed pawn, your opponent's king and pieces are forced to focus on stopping it. This distraction can open up opportunities elsewhere on the board, like capturing opponent pawns or gaining better positions for your king and remaining pieces. In the endgame, the king becomes a key piece. It needs to support your pawn push while preventing the opponent's king from interfering. When you have a pawn majority, your king can help escort your pawns forward, especially on the side where you have the majority. This is where the concept of opposition comes into play. Opposition is when your king faces the opponent's king with one square in between. Using opposition, you can maneuver your king to control key squares, helping your pawns advance safely and preventing the enemy king from blocking your progress. It's important to push your pawns carefully. Avoid creating weaknesses like doubled pawns or isolated pawns that can be attacked easily. Sometimes your opponent will try a minority attack, which means they push fewer pawns on that side to create weaknesses in your pawn structure. Your goal is to use your pawn majority to create a passed pawn, then support it with your king and pieces. This can lead to a decisive advantage. In many cases, players will exchange pieces to simplify the position into a pawn endgame. This makes the pawn majority even more valuable because it becomes the main focus of the game. When your outside pawn is close to promotion, your opponent has to divert their king and pieces to stop it, giving you chances to infiltrate their position and capture their pawns. So, having a pawn majority in the endgame is like having a secret weapon. It gives you the chance to create a passed pawn, force your opponent into defensive moves, and ultimately win the game. Mastering how to push and support your pawn majority, especially using opposition to maneuver your king, is a key part of endgame strategy. It's all about turning that extra pawn into a real threat and using your king wisely to support your plan.